They say nothing good ever happens after 3 a.m. For Emily, that night proved it true. Fade in, it was one of those nights where sleep was simply impossible. Maybe it was the buzzing of the fly that seemed to have nested itself inside her bedroom, or maybe it was the overwhelming feeling of loneliness that always seemed to find her in the dead of the night. Whatever the reason, Emily lay in bed scrolling through social media, each like and comment on her post seeming less and less important with every passing second. The clock on her bedside table ticked by 2:33 a.m., the minutes crawling by as she endlessly scrolled. Then, just as she was about to succumb to the darkness under her eyelids, a sound cut through the quiet of the night. It was a knock, a firm, resounding knock on her front door. Who could possibly be visiting her at this ungodly hour? Confused, Emily sat up in bed. 2:58 a.m. The clock read. The knock came again, this time 2 sharp raps that echoed through the house. Was it the wind? Had some branch gone loose and was flailing against the door in the night? Emily shook her head, trying to clear away the sleepiness that had been clinging to her moments before. The knocks came once more, louder than before. Boom. This time she could feel the vibrations of the knock through the mattress. Sitting on the edge of her bed, she reached for her phone. Its dim light filled her face as she walked towards the door, her heart thumping in her chest. As she neared the door, the knocking stopped. Had whoever been out there simply lost interest? Or perhaps they were hiding and waiting for her to come closer. A shiver ran down Emily's spine. She peered through the peephole, but all she saw was darkness on the other side. Relief washed over her. Probably just kids playing a trick. Who else would be out and about at this hour? Still, curiosity gnawed at her. Who could it be? What did they want? Mustering her courage, she swung the door open, ready to confront the culprit. But what she saw left her standing frozen in shock. There was no one there. The knocking hadn't come from the front door. Rather, it had originated from within the house, from her bedroom door. She stood transfixed. The question, what? Echoing silently in her mind. The doorknob turned. The door creaked open, revealing an empty hallway. Emily's eyes darted from the door to the darkened windows and back again. It was then that she noticed the wall hanging askew, a picture frame knocked sideways on the nail. The realization dawned on her. This wasn't a prank. Someone or something was inside her house. Fear coiled in her stomach, squeezing tight. The doorknob turned. The door creaked open, revealing an empty hallway. Emily's eyes darted from the door to the darkened windows and back again. It was then that she noticed the wall hanging askew, a picture frame knocked sideways on the nail. The realization dawned on her. This wasn't a prank. Someone or something was inside her house. Fear coiled in her stomach, squeezing tight. Slowly, she shut the bedroom door, leaning against it as if seeking solace from the wooden barrier between her and the unknown presence in her home. Her gaze fell on her phone lying on the bed. An idea sparked in her mind. She picked it up, turning the screen brightness all the way up, using it as a flashlight. She cautiously approached the bedroom door. Each step echoed loudly in the silent house, amplifying her fear. A tiny sound from behind the door made her freeze. She held her breath, listening intently. There was a scratching sound, followed by what seemed like a whisper. Then silence. Had she imagined it, the scratching came again, persistent and slow. Emily gulped, her heart pounding in her ears. Her hand trembled as she raised the phone higher, its light dancing on the wall in front of her. Taking a deep breath, she pushed the door open. It revealed a dark, narrow hallway. The scratching sound continued. Was it coming from inside the walls? Emily stepped into the hallway, the phone light illuminating dust particles dancing in the air. As she moved deeper into the gloom, the whispering started again. It seemed to be coming from everywhere and nowhere at once. Her blood ran cold. She had never heard whispers like these in the old house. These were not human. The scratching grew louder, the whispers more distinct. Then a sudden movement at the end of the hallway. Something dark seemed to scuttle away from the light. Hope surged through Emily. Maybe she could escape the unseen presence. She turned and fled back to her bedroom. The door seemed miles away. Then, just as she thought she might make it, the scratching began on the other side of the door. She pressed her back flat against the cool wood. Peeking through the crack, she saw darkness. The doorknob turned slowly. She backed away as fast as she could, tripping over her own feet in her haste. The door swung open and she scrambled back, her phone slipping from her grasp. It clattered to the floor, its light extinguished. The room was plunged into absolute darkness. The scratching at the door stopped. Silence descended, heavy and thick. Then a whisper right next to her ear sent shivers down her spine. "You should have opened the door." The voice was raspy and ancient, like leaves crunching underfoot. Startled, Emily cried out, scrambling backwards. A cold, bony finger brushed against her cheek. She screamed, scrambling further back. Her hand brushed against something solid. She couldn't see it, but it felt like stone. Panic seized her. She tried to call out, but no sound escaped her lips. She was trapped in a prison of darkness with something she couldn't understand. A low chuckle reverberated in the space, sending chills down Emily's spine. "I've been waiting so long for this," the voice rasped. She wanted to run, to hide, but fear rooted her to the spot. The thing brushed against her again, its touch icy cold. This time it felt like claws. Something heavy brushed against her leg. She flinched, pressing herself against the wall. The whispers returned, swirling around her, their meaning just out of reach. "Let me show you something," the voice hissed. A finger dug into her arm, and she cried out, squirming. Suddenly, she found herself lifted off the ground. Terror choked her. She struggled, kicking wildly, but it was no use. The darkness around her was too dense. She couldn't see anything, but she could feel the presence looming over her. Then, as abruptly as it started, it stopped. Emily dangled in the darkness, her body heavy and weak. The voice chuckled again, and she felt herself being lowered. "Here," it whispered, pressing her gently onto something soft. She landed with a muffled thump. "Here you can stay," the voice crooned. "We'll be together now." Emily struggled to sit up, her eyes strained to pierce the darkness, but it was no use. She was trapped in a void where the only sound was the creature's soft, chilling laughter. She tried to scream, but her voice caught in her throat. She was utterly alone, lost in the suffocating darkness with a monster she couldn't see. And so Emily spent the rest of her life in that dark place, forever tormented by the whispers and the laughter, a prisoner in her own home with a monster that had become her captor. Outro: they found Emily's phone on the floor the next morning, still recording, but Emily quoted she was never seen again. Thanks for watching. If you liked this story, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more scary content. Now you need to watch The Most Scary Things in the World. Or check out these other stories from the channel.